Rockology Show, Chris and Matt. The song is called Breaking All the Rules from Screaming Eagles. And on our phone line, we got Chris Fry, vocalist from the band. Chris, thanks for taking time out to talk to Hard Rockology.
Not a problem. Not a problem, guys. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, Chris, I'm glad that you're open to here, join the new show here. Oh, actually, you got a new album release, Stand Up and Be Counted. And
yeah,
let me just ask you this, the album cover. What's up with that album cover?
What is the crack with it? We wanted something that sort of spelt out what direction the band were going. We had a great first album. It was lauded around the world, and we just thought, because there's so much pressure on the second album, we thought, you know what, we'll just put it out there, we'll stand up and be counted type of thing, you know. So if people like it, they like it. They don't, they don't. That's the type of attitude we were going for. So we got one of the guys that he actually did the artwork for the first album, Jonathan Riddell, and we put it to him. This is the idea that we wanted, and he came up with some good designs, and that was the main one that he came back with, that we decided to go for.
I mean, looking at it, I was a big fan of the first album, and
it's got the megaphone on it.
Well, it's got the megaphone on the new one, and I will say this, it does sound different than the first album, so I got to sit there and say you guys did take a chance changing a little bit, but I definitely like the sound of the new album.
Yeah, we matured a lot. Like it was my, it would have been my first album doing original music, so I was sort of totally naive and new to the whole writing process. So once I had that first album under my belt, it took a lot more time. And I think there's a lot more maturity in the songs, and we spent a lot more time on the songs compared to the first album. And that's where you've got the sort of different sounds coming from. Everyone's come up with different influences, different backgrounds for this new album. And as you said, it's a different sound, but hopefully there's the same Skrigal taste that you'll get.
Well, yeah, the name of the band, Screaming Eagles, and of course you have the track on the album as well. Was that a track that was always in your set, or did you guys say, hey, maybe we should do a track called Screaming Eagles? So how did that come about, or is that an older song?
It actually came about in the studio. The guy, our producer Ross, we were working away with songs with lots of ideas, and he came across and he says, what about a song about the Screaming Eagles, about the 101st Airborne, where one of our names came from? It's basically, that's the background. I would be a big Band of Brothers fan, you know, the whole World War II sort of thing, and I thought it was a great idea to sort of pay homage to where we got the name from, and hopefully it's came across well.
You mentioned a couple of minutes ago you used to sing in a cover band. That was like your first thing. You were doing cover songs and stuff, and then you made the transition to your own band. Did you think it would be difficult? What did you think it'd be like when you said, you know what, I got to write my own songs, I got to play my own music? Was the transition difficult, or was it or is it harder actually to cover other songs and make them sound presentable to people?
It's definitely harder writing your own stuff, because when you play in a cover band, you can never get it absolutely perfect the way the original band did. So you sort of put your own spin on it. But for writing your own music, I was terrified when the guys came and they gave me the music and goes, right, there you go, there's 10 songs, go away and write 10 songs. And when I first heard them, I thought, oh God, I'm not going to be able to do this. But once you just sort of click and you get in a groove of stuff, it comes really quickly. The first album we had finished in 3 months, and that gave me a lot of confidence going into the Stand Up and Be Counted album.
So the guys you have in the band right now, who are they, real quick? And then how did you guys meet?
Adrian would be the lead guitarist. You've got Ryan on the bass, and you have Kyle on the drums. These three guys used to be in another band for years. That I used to actually follow about, their band called Soundstone. Me and Ryan, the bass player, would have been great friends, so I would have travelled all around and watched them, and it was actually them that inspired me to be in a band. And then they lost their singer, and they asked me to come down to practice, and one thing led to another, and we just clicked. And since then, the last 3 years, we've just sort of grown to hate each other now.
It's like being in a family, though. You know, it is your family.
It is. It is. Yeah. You've got the crazy uncle drummer. You've got the boring brother who plays bass, and then you've got the bossy guitarist who tries to control everything. But then you love them all.
It was pretty funny a minute ago. You said, like, okay, now I'm in the band I've been following. That's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden they hand you, like, here's 10 songs. Write some lyrics for that. I mean...
Yeah, yes. It's like, here, hurry up.
And it's like, how much time did they give you to write the lyrics for those songs? Or were they going, come on, Chris, I mean, what's the deal? I mean, it's got some lyrics for these songs or what?
They weren't that bad. They would give me maybe 2 songs a week, and they would expect me to maybe have them done in 3 or 4 weeks, and I would have come back a week later and have the 2 songs finished, and they'd be quite surprised. So they were quite easy that way. Okay. So it wasn't like they were holding a gun to my head and saying, right, this better be done now.
Well, I want let's let this is going to be kind of an interesting question, and maybe this will give you the progression of your songwriting. What was the first track that you actually wrote lyrics to on From the Flames, and what was the first track that you actually wrote lyrics to on Stand Up and Be Counted?
The first song I ever wrote lyrics for was Fight the Fire. Okay. And I think it's actually still one of my favourite songs, or one of my best songs. The first song off Stand Up was Ready for the Fall.
Okay. So, I mean, that just gives it an interesting take because, like you said, you never wrote lyrics before or actually wrote anything. So there you go. Those are the 2 songs. So I guess you could see the progression of how your songwriting's going. And like I said,
definitely.
Like I said, I mean, the difference between the 2 albums, there definitely is a maturity there. And I guess one of the questions, 27 Club. So
yeah,
talk a little bit about that track. What exactly is going on in that particular track?
What's going on in the club?
Exactly.
What's going on in the club? Well, I've missed the club, unfortunately. I'm 32 now, so I might have to start a 32 or 33 club soon. I thought we'd pay. It's like a roller coaster of history. So you're talking Screaming Eagles was where we got the name from, which was from the Screaming Eagles. It's 101st Airborne. 27 Club. Again, look at the people who we've lost at that young age. You've got Jimi Hendrix, you've got Jim Morrison, you've got you've got so many other ones. We try to mention a few of them in the song as well. There's also on the album Bow Down to the Blues, which is basically about the start of the blues and how it all sort of formed, about the history behind it and all about the devil at the crossroads. And so basically we're trying to weave through time with the album in certain songs. 27 Club, again, it's one of those songs that clicked straight away when Adrian played me the lyrics, or played me the music. I put the lyrics to it and it just clicked straight away.
That's an interesting story because I love the guitar solo towards the end of the song. I mean, it's a really great song. So it's 27 Club by Screaming Eagles. Definitely check it out. It also closes out the album too, in a way, and it kind of like closes it out in an interesting way.
It's that riff that you hear at the end of 27 Club has been about for years, apparently. Adrian has had that playing in his head, and we've tried to fit it into certain songs, and it just didn't click. And when we had heard the start of 27 Club, and we needed something to finish it, we needed something strong, even because we knew that was going to finish the album, and that was a perfect bit of music, I thought, just to finish off your second album.
So on the new album, you have actually a video called Save Me. Tell me a little bit about that video. It's a great song. I mean, I love that song. I love it. It's a good rocking song. Just the video, I always want to know a little bit behind the scenes. How did that video come about? Because it's got some interesting things in it.
That's from the brainchild of our crazy uncle drummer, Kyle Crookshanks. We were in Ibiza about a week before it, and we actually were going to make Breaking All the Rules our first video. But we played Save Me Out live for the first time, and the reception we got was immense. So we took a backtrack and says, look, let's make Save Me the video. And we didn't really have an idea of what we wanted to do, but we knew that we wanted something totally different from what we've did before. So we decided to put an ad out for all of our friends and our fans who wanted to be in the video, and we got a good response. So we got a load of them down and filled them full of beer and just got the guys to film them. And then got a couple of, we got a fire-breathing transvestite and a guy in a gimp suit show up as well.
Yeah, I guess
that's the sort of fans we sort of react to.
It's kind of funny in a way, and you're watching you sing in the video, and you're just kind of like, these guys, this is just normal crowd here. You got fire-breathing transvestite, you got a guy in a gimp suit, no big deal. All's fine at a Screaming Eagle show.
Yeah, I'll not tell you who's got the gimp suit now, though. Let's just say Halloween's coming around the corner.
Yeah.
So we could be expecting some pictures on Instagram.
Oh, definitely. You might see some pictures, but you'll never know who's in them.
Are you going to have the fire-breathing transvestite on the stage with you? Any shows?
Well, we are talking. Now, it's not a transvestite, but we are talking to a lovely young lady who I know can fire breathe, and hopefully at our next show in Hard Rock Hell, when we're playing with Black Label Society, that we're going to be able to get her up and do a bit of fire breathing for us.
I mean, you watch that video. Then there's some scenes where you're going down the elevator or whatever it is, and you open it up, and it's just like. I don't know what you guys' intentions were for the video, but
it works.
It works. I mean, it comes across one way, so there's like a couple different messages going on there. So excellent video.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Chris, when did you start singing, and like who was like some of your influences growing up? I mean, when did you realize that I can actually sing, and how did that all come about? I always like kind of interested. Like one day you're not a singer, and all of a sudden the next day. You're singing in a band, or you're practicing.
I've always been interested in singing since I was young. My sister had a great taste in music. Used to listen to Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, all the sort of all genres of rock and metal. I chose for some reason to listen to R&B and soul. Because I just loved good singers in bands, and then I was offered. One night I was walking home really drunk when I was about 17, and I came across a busker, and he asked me to stop. He says, "Do you know any songs?" And I just started singing, and the guy ended up being in a band and asked me to join the band, and it really just started from there. That was my first band I was in, a band called Charlie Don't Surf. It was a cover band as well, and then progressed to a classic rock cover band, and then like an acoustic band, all sorts of genres. And then when the boys came across in Screaming Eagles, I jumped at the chance, and here I am now.
I also enjoyed, like I was obviously do some research for every band that we do on the show, but I came across the Kick Out the Jams acoustic show you did with your guitar player. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, that was a spur of the moment thing. We did not practice once. We took one or two takes for every song.
Seriously?
And we just prayed to God that it would turn out good. But hopefully it did.
It was really interesting because between certain songs you talk about certain things for a couple of minutes and then go back into the song again. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I definitely...
It was a new experience.
Yeah.
So being that you have, of course, the Black Label Society show coming up, I mean, is there plans to make it over to different parts of Europe, England... States possibly in the near future?
We're doing a tour in England at the end of November. A few dates. We're playing in Cardiff. We're playing in Wales. We're playing in Evesham, and we're playing in Grimsby. And then in February we're heading over to Germany for 4 dates. And it'll be our first foray into Germany. So we're really looking forward to that, because I know the likes of Germany and France and the Scandinavian countries, they all love their rock music. So fingers crossed, once the Germany gig's finished, we'll be offered a few more.
A couple more questions, Chris, then we'll let you go.
Yeah.
A person you'd want to have a beer with, living or dead, just pick their mind and say, hey, tell me about you.
I would say Bon Scott. I'd love to share a bottle of Jack with Bon to see, just to hear the stuff that he got up to on tour. That would be pretty cool. I would say we'd probably fight over the end of it as well. Who gets the last of the Jack? But alive, I would love to have a drink with Eddie Vedder. He's my hero. He's just worship the ground he walks on, that man.
That's interesting. Eddie Vedder and
Bon Scott.
Bon Scott,
yeah.
Don't think the three of us would get on well. I'd have to play a mediator in the middle, but I think we'll have some fun playing, shooting some pool and chasing some women.
So where can people find out about Screaming Eagles? You got a webpage, Facebook, you on Twitter?
We've got Screagles83 on Twitter. We have Facebook page. We've got just Screaming Eagles. Check us out on Facebook. And we also have Screaming Eagles Rocks, our website, where you can check it out, and you can check our videos out on YouTube, and you can also download our album on iTunes and Amazon. over.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Well, Matt and I want to thank you for being part of the Hard Rockology Show. Wait a minute. I forgot one thing, Matt. Chris, I forgot to ask you this. Spinal Tap moment. You've been in bands for quite some time now. You got to have Spinal Tap moment.
Yeah. Spinal Tap moment, I would say, is probably playing in front of two. Well, we did a gig with Band of Van de Youngs. It was my first ever gig in Belfast, and we were bigging it up, thinking this is going to be great. This is our first gig. Everyone's going to love us. And 4 people showed up, and 2 of them left.
But the band carries on though anyway, right?
The band. I just got really, really drunk and treated it like a practice. And plus, I found it $10 on the ground as well. So it was a win-win for me.
There you go. You got drunk, $10, and 2 new fans.
That's right.
Yep, exactly.
What more could you ask for?
So that's my Spinal Tap moment. Probably a lot more, but I just can't remember them. We are Irish afterwards.
Okay, so what's the beverage of choice?
Yeah, what's your beverage of choice, my friend?
My beverage of choice. Have you seen any of our videos? Do you see the bottle that I always have? I always have a bottle of Buckfast. You guys probably haven't heard of it, but see if you can get over here, get a taste of Buckfast. It's like fortified wine. It has the equivalent of 5 or 6 cans of Red Bull, the sugar or the caffeine of Red Bull in it, and you get drunk and you get hyper all at the same time.
Great.
Every gig I do, I drink a bottle of Buckfast on stage. And then probably a bottle of Buckfast after, and then a bottle of Buckfast when I wake up.
Yeah, I could just see this in a couple of years. In the news today, Screaming Eagles vocalist Chris Fry's heart exploded on stage after drinking Buckfast.
He ripped his heart out.
That's the name of the new album. It could be called Buckfast.
Bands in the process of finding a new singer because they feel they need to carry on.
Yeah,
Chris would want them to.
No Buckfast is allowed for the new singer.
All right, Chris, we want to thank you for joining us here on the Hard Rockology Show. And for our listeners out there, you definitely want to pick up the brand new Screaming Eagles album, Stand Up and Be Counted. And you know what? If you haven't picked up the first album, From the Flames, pick that album up too. Right, Chris?
Grab it up as well.
Totally agree.
All right, Chris, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Hard Rockology Show. And like we do with all of our guests, why don't you go ahead and pick another track off your latest release, Stand Up and Be Counted?
I think I'm going to pick off our new album will be Get Out While I'm Ahead. It's one of my favourite songs on the album, and I think everyone's going to love it.